Hey guys, we're gonna do an interesting video again, I suppose. So previously I have covered to use the stock Intel cooler on the 9800X 3D. It was kind of interesting, but there's few things I kind of missed or I did not kind of think about when I started that sort of mod. It's it's about fans and the actual chip itself, how much heat it can produce. So from then and now, I have tested this particular Thermalright low profile cooler with its stock fan, which in this stock fan form, it actually creates quite a bit of static pressure compared to the Nocta fan that I have been testing using on the Intel stock cooler. So it was kind of, not good for a test sake, let's just say that. And today, what I'm gonna end up doing is that I'm gonna end up taking the Intel stock cooler again. I'm gonna pair it with another Thermalright, one of their low profile fan, and see how it can actually perform. Well, I mean, on top of that, I'm actually gonna test the stock AMD fans or Intel AMD coolers, and to see how well they can perform compared to, the Thermalright low profile cooler. Obviously, this thing is really low profile. It's about 47 millimeter in terms of height, and in terms, height, it's probably just around the Intel stock cooler height, to be honest. And I'm just interested of what the result would be. To be honest, these coolers, if you're buying these brand new, they will cost more than this Thermalright low profile cooler. And I'm not gonna do any sort of noise test. I'm just gonna see, exactly how well it can perform. So I am not gonna stop the video. I'm just gonna continue to, do my thing here. And if you guys are interested to just, jump quickly ahead, yeah, just jump ahead the video and to see some of the results that I get from replacing the coolers. So for anybody who's interested of the process and every single installation, the method I'm doing, just keep the video rolling and lay back and see how I messed up along the way. And maybe there's a thing or two you can learn from this test. Yeah, I'm just gonna start taking out this Thermalright cooler, and they're not on that tight, to be honest. When I started putting it in there, I don't think it needs to be super tight. So right now it's actually like finger tight, or at least I can undo it using my finger. Yeah, it definitely doesn't require a lot of tension to do its to perform well. So I'm just gonna use my finger to undo all this. Just gonna drag on a little bit. If you guys are really impatient, just skip ahead. And if I'm, go radio silence, I'm gonna end up pausing the video for you guys, just so you're not sitting around having me to not say anything for long periods of time. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things we can chat about if you know, I just don't want to go radio silence while waiting for things to boot up and all that stuff. So anyways, actually turn off the power. So one thing I like when I do take off like cooler is actually give it a wiggle like this. It just helps it to come off. And I am gonna actually at some point add a new camera to the video so you can get another angle of my you know, test rig and all that stuff. Maybe one of these days end up not being camera shy and show my face. But in the meantime, I'm gonna do what I do best, just to play around what I have, and hopefully you guys enjoy what I do here. Now I'm actually gonna start with all the AMD stuff. So I haven't actually added more thermal paste, so these MX4s are doing pretty good job. So just a dab more. I do have to clean it at some point because it's gonna start spreading and spread and spread, but for now it's good enough. So at the time of recording this video, the 5090 just came out with unboxing videos of you know, the Founders Edition 5090. Very interesting card per se. I wonder how the AIB partner pricing will be for that particular card, because I don't think the Founder Edition will be that easy to get. I'm pretty sure scalpers would get their hands on it first. With that said, I mean, I'm gonna try my best to get one right away through my local you know, computer store. In Canada, where I live, my local store is Memory Express, so I'm gonna try my best through them. But if not, I also have Best Buy and Canada Computers. In my city, I don't have Canada Computers as a local store, so that's kind of unfortunate. So right now, this particular 9800 X3D are just basically using a straight up a negative 45 curve optimizer, and it peaks around 120 watts. So initially, without the negative 45 curve, it's peaking about almost 160, 170 watts under load. And even my, you know, trusty Paris Assassin wasn't able to cool it efficiently. It just wasn't able to cool it. It's still thermal throttles. So I'm gonna power this up, and I'm gonna pause the video because it's gonna take a while for it to boot, and we'll be right back. Alrighty guys, I have everything all loaded up. This thing is, you know, idling about 40 C, and to save time, I'm not gonna do the 10-minute throttle test. I'm gonna do a couple runs to see where the temperature sits at and just get a ballpark. And I'm gonna just swap out coolers quickly and then see, you know, where approximately these cooler kind of lays in performance wise. I know R23 is not exactly the best CPU you know, heat producing application out there. I know there's Prime 95, but in terms of my benchmark, I do need a score of sort. So I opt in for R23, and let's see. Hopefully you guys can hear the noise it's able to produce. It's quite a good score too for a single run. So 23. He beats the 16 core 5950X. It is quite loud, but he's doing not bad of a job. You know, when you're actually, you know, putting under a load. I think realistically, this cooler, like if you actually use it for gaming and just normal stuff, you're not gonna see it peaks over 80 degrees. Well, yeah. So while we're doing this, I'm gonna kind of show you what I'm gonna do with Intel cooler if you haven't seen the previous video about this. So because of these standoffs, actually I'm gonna give you guys the bigger camera here. So because of these standoffs, I can't really mount the cooler flush onto the CPU. The only way to get at is actually pop it off, which it's actually not that hard to pop it off. You just have to kind of pull on these tabs. So you get one side pulled off, and while holding one side, you just keep popping off the other two ends, and there you go. Yeah, I need to use this particular fan for this setup, but to be honest, this is the only thing I kind of have at the moment. I'm unwilling to cut off the legs to kind of meet the cooler, so instead I'm gonna use the, you know, next best thing is the Thermalright fan, which I know it has pretty good static pressure compared to the Noctua 25mm fan. I think this thing is only good for airflow, and we're gonna swap, and we're gonna see. So before we swap out this, you guys have to sit through another test, which is the bigger boy for this particular test. So so far I'm peaking around 77 degrees with 2 R23 runs. I'm just gonna say that's a pretty good kind of margin, right? So 77, we're gonna keep that in mind, and I'm actually gonna pop this cooler on. I'm not gonna use the actual lever mechanism. I'm just gonna use just, you know, hand force. If I do see this cooler is performing worse than this cooler, that means that I don't have enough mounting pressure. I'm gonna actually get it, you know, mounted properly. So I'm gonna pause the video and we're gonna come back after when I install the cooler. Alright, I got the cooler mounted. I hope I have enough pressure, or at least it's able to perform without me installing its bracket. And normally, yeah, you need to have sort of good mounting pressure. Depends on how the cooler is designed, how flat or convex it is. So normally you need some pressure for it to kind of, you know, so if it's convex like this, you need to push enough so it actually sits flat on the CPU for it to perform optimally. So I really don't know how this cooler is designed, and I really don't have enough resource to find out how well or how this cooler is designed. But what I could do is just kind of, you know, give my best muscle pressure that I can do. So I am gonna switch back to the PC for you guys to see. So it has, you know, a little bit of, I think the temperature is a little bit better, I think. So we're just gonna do a quick run to see where the temperature sits at. It's actually pretty tiring holding down the thing. Oh man. It is definitely a little bit prettier than the previous one with all the RGB and stuff. For the second run, I'm actually going to give it more pressure using 2 arms. I really think these coolers will actually require quite a bit of mounting pressure for it to work well. The score is about the same thing from the last one, so yeah, gain a little bit of score, and it peaks about 76 degrees, which is technically an improvement from the last cooler. But we're gonna do one more run just to kind of, without any sort of pressure, and see what the difference would be. I'm just gonna kind of leave it there, use its own weight. So previous one, it peaks about 76 degrees, or we're just about doing 75. It's really about the same thing. So between that cooler and this one is about 1 degrees difference. But obviously, yes, if you probably give it a good mounting pressure, it'll probably perform well. But to speed up the test here, I'm just gonna sit for a little bit and see how it goes. I'm gonna do a couple individual runs just to kind of get the ballpark number. Yeah, the score is creeping up too. Let me reset this. I'm gonna do one more run. See exactly where it peaks out on temperature wise. Oh, it peaks out in 74 now. But this time I didn't give it time to cool, right? So it just immediately picks up the heat again. But then again, the most temperature is hitting about 75, 76. So from the last cooler and this cooler, that's about 1 degree difference. So I think we can conclude this test between the last one and this one. It's about 1 degrees. But this one looks prettier though. It's okay. All these ones are technically free because it came with some of the CPUs, AMD CPU out there as part of the box cooler. I remember getting this one from a 3900X, and I got this one from a 5600G, I think. So So this one technically is supposed to be able to handle about 125 watts of TDP power, and this one should be about 75, 80. But in terms of this particular test, they're only about 1 degrees difference. So I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna resume, and once I resume, I'm going to show you how I end up mounting this cooler onto this CPU, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, I got everything all shut down. I'm going to put a little bit more thermal paste, just a tack more, because every time you take off the cooler, the thermal paste would go with the cooler, half of it, and we definitely don't want to have too little thermal paste for our test. And we're gonna put that into a stock cooler. Actually, let me get that camera angle for you guys. Get this into a stock cooler, just kind of try and line up onto the middle, and we're gonna give it a nice press to spread out the thermal paste. And most of the time it's hard to pick these up because they get sucked onto the CPU surface. And what you're gonna end up doing is take this fan, and we're gonna kind of drop it on top, but we're gonna actually get this onto there, and it is gonna move around once it's spinning. So what we're gonna end up doing is taking a Velcro, and hopefully it doesn't hit. So this is gonna be a pain in the bum to actually tie down. Even last time it was kind of a pain, but I got it done. So what we end up doing is we line up the fan, and we'll pull. So while holding this guy static to one location, you pull the other one, give it a nice pull, and then we'll just kind of Velcro on top. Now this fan is not going to spin properly, right? So what we're going to end up doing is make sure the CPU kind of sits, the cooler sits in the middle of the CPU, and line up the fan. We're going to get a couple spacers. Could be washer, could be some screw, could be anything that kind of give it a little space right about here. Alright guys, I found some of a different type of Velcro, a little bit skinnier. I'm gonna just kind of put it on the edge of the fan. And I'm gonna line up the cooler once more. Make sure it's sitting in the middle of the CPU. Is that impeding the spin of the fan? No, it doesn't. Alright. So we're gonna boot it up. Now this time we're gonna let it boot. I'm not gonna pause the video. I'm gonna switch my camera over to my computer. Alright. We're gonna have idle is about, it's pretty high idling, that's for sure. Let's reset. Yeah, it's about 5 degrees more than before. And what I'm curious is, if you do it a couple of these Cinebench runs, is it gonna thermal throttle? Let's do that. Oh yes, it's gonna thermal throttle. It's definitely gonna thermal throttle. Let's give it a little bit more mounting pressure. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's usable. Remember how our score before, it's, you know, faster than the 5950X? Now we're just kind of short of that. Let's get that one more try. Yes, still no good. Too small for cooler. But then again, what is this cooler height again? I'm gonna use my ruler. So think about what we're dealing with here, okay? We have this cooler, and if you want to know the performance of this cooler, please see the previous video that I made. It's about 47, you know, millimeter height, right? Indicated from the ruler. I'm gonna shut off this PC now because there's really no point keep running this on an Intel stock cooler. And if you want that particular height, what choices do you have, right? What choices do you have? I know there's other manufacturers make also the 47 millimeter height coolers. But this thing, if I pop it out, you know, it's really sucked onto the CPU now. There we go. And you can see where the circle kind of sits. So this is what's sitting right over here. But anyways, what's the total height of this? All right. Let me go back. Let me give you guys the full camera view here. What is the total height of this? It's about 34, 35, 34. About 34 millimeter. So it is definitely more skinnier, but like, in what builds do you actually need this, like this much lower of a space? You know what I mean? There's no reason to go even lower than what, you know, Thermalright can offer. And I'm pretty sure there are lower style cooler, even lower style cooler out there, but it's just not going to be adequate to lower to cool the 9800X3D. I think in terms like the size and the height and the performance, I think this is actually the sweet spot. and also the price. It's pretty good. Yeah. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to keep follow me doing stupid videos like this, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe for the channel, and comment below if you want me to do something else. You guys have a great day. Bye bye.